Hey, Phantomaniacs, welcome to the newest unboxing here on the Needless Things YouTube channel. Today, I am looking at some brand new releases from Valaverse's Action Force, the Urban Combat Republic Guard, and the Urban Gear Set. Now, by the end of this review, if you haven't figured it out already, you will know why somebody whose favorite G.I. Joe character is Firefly would have ordered this set. Speaking of G.I. Joe, please check out Audible Interlude, a G.I. Joe podcast, available the first Friday of every month, wherever you get your podcasts. This is a troop builder that is just a base figure, and then you add on whichever Valaverse Action Force accessories you want. Very cool idea, very intriguing to me. So I ordered these to complement each other, and we're going to take a look at them both now. I like that this is basic packaging, doesn't need anything too fancy, doesn't need the window on the front because this is what you're getting. On the back of the box, we've got a file card. Looks great, and Valaverse action points, potentially redeemable for future promotions. We'll find out how that goes. I'm very interested in that. So let's go ahead and open this guy up. Nice art on the front and on the side. Since there is not yet a satisfying to me Firefly figure in the G.I. Joe Classified series, I'm very happy that there is something that could potentially be sort of an alternative. So we're just basic Ziploc bag inside. I love it. I think this is a good way to go to cut down on cost a little bit and offer up something like a troop builder for a more reasonable price. But that's not to say this is a bare bones figure, because as you can see, you've got the figure right here, but you also have your Action Force stand, which is a very nice looking stand. We learned with yesterday's Sergeant Slaughter review that Slaughter didn't really want to... now this is the first ankle joint. Oh, there we go, we're fine. First ankle joint that gave me a little trouble. And I didn't mention this in yesterday's Sarge's review because I'm doing all of these at the same time and kind of assuming that you guys are going to watch them all in sequence. These figures feel good. They feel nice. They feel like mass market retail figures. They do not feel like, hey, we're independent toys, so we're using a little cheaper plastic, a little cheaper production methods. Like, this feels like a good, solid toy that you could have bought at Walmart, Target, whatever. And I mean that in a good way. Articulation wise, I've got butterfly joints at the shoulders. We've got a great system on the torso with a ball joint at the waist and a ball joint. That guy doesn't want to turn. And I will mention that Valaverse has sent out information saying, look, some of these joints might be a little tighter than we'd like them to be. So they have instructions for how to heat these figures up and loosen those joints up. Because believe it or not, I know we're all toy collectors here, but not everybody knows that stuff. So let's give that guy a little blast real quick. I found that about 10 seconds worked just fine for one the other day. Yeah, that still doesn't want to straighten out. So later on, I will, because this obviously you can see is working just fine, but twisting right here, he doesn't quite want to twist. So I'm going to leave that alone for right now, and we're just going to continue looking at the aesthetics and design of this figure. You can see all of the sculpted detail here. Great looking uniform. This is the base layer. But the camo looks absolutely incredible. The print on the camo, you can see it's not sloppy at all. Like, really well done, well applied. Looks very distinctive and interesting. And the sculpt has lots of textures and folds and lines and seams and stuff. This is, at first glance, this is a basic figure. Oh, it's an urban camo guy. But there's a lot to enjoy with all of the details and design of the figure. So I'm very impressed with all of that. And, you know, something that I just noticed that I didn't mention in either of the other reviews I did, we've got Penless Joints. It just hit me. I'm 3 reviews deep now, and I just realized, oh my gosh, we have penless joints, because it just now occurred to me to look at the pens and see if they stuck out amidst the deco. Absolutely beautiful. You can see the elbow pad going on right there. Very nicely done. Those wrists are tricky. So this is, with the 3 figures, the wrist, the left one specifically, is the one that doesn't really want to turn. You got to wiggle that guy loose a little bit. But there we go. Now we've got it, and everything's fine. I've got the drop down hip joint. You can see that belt has great sculpt, great painted detail. It's not just a gray belt that's part of the mold. Like, they actually went out of their way to paint that belt and make it look nice. Lots of pockets, knee pads. The boot has a really cool look. And then on the bottom, you've got a really beautiful tread design. And let's see if this guy fits on the stand any better than Sarge did right out of the box. Yeah, that's probably the biggest challenge I've had so far, is the figures don't quite want to go on the stands. But he is actually going on there a little better than Sarge did. So let's go ahead and just mount him on the stand so we can get him geared up. Maybe. Okay, it's going in there. All right, so there we go. Now we've got this guy mounted on the stand. So it's going to vary from figure to figure whether or not you're going to have to heat those feet up before you get them onto their stands, if you want to use the stands, which I probably will not. As much as I like these stands, I'm just not I'm not a fan of having my figures on stands in general, unless they absolutely require them. You can see the detail on the eyes. Looks great. Absolutely fantastic painted detail under that balaclava. And the balaclava itself, you can see this, the sculpted seams. And again, this camo pattern is just beautifully done. Yeah, this guy looks great. Look at that. Awesome looking figure with tons of articulation. Very well executed. All right, now remember, this is a basic figure. This is a lower price point than Steel Brigade, Sergeant Slaughter, any of the named figures in the line, but he still comes with, let's get these accessories snipped open here. All of the sort of signature, I would say, Valaverse hands, because he's got fists as defaults. And then we've got this sort of holding or beckoning hand. Or is that a just bring it hand? Is that what that is? Have I been mistaken in the last 2 reviews? We've got C-grips. I've got trigger hands. So you've got all of these hands with this basic figure. And you have an alternate portrait with a dark skin underneath that balaclava, which is very cool. I love that. I won't be using it for this figure because, like I said, this guy is probably going to end up being my Firefly, but that is awesome. It's great. So for the purposes of representation and the purposes of just building troops that look different, this is great. All right, so there you go. There's the figure. There's our base guy that we're going to be building onto with this accessory set, the Urban Gear set. On the back, it shows you what's included inside. And while these items are not really Firefly specific, they are. I just wanted to get them to put them on this guy and see what he looked like. I can probably customize him a little better to be closer to Firefly if I so desire. I'm going to take a look at other Valaverse releases and see what we've got to deal with on that front. All right, so very simple box. Looks great. You see what you're getting inside. And then we've got 2 bags full of gear. And again, this packaging is A-OK with me. I do not mind anything that makes my figures a little more practical on the wallet. All right, what all have we even got in here? I am going to keep this over here as a little guide to what I'm looking at. Put that off camera for you guys, but I can see it. So we have our first backpack that I've talked about in the line. It is a green rather than the gray that I was kind of hoping for, but looks great. Tons of detail. Not painted, but I'm fine with that because if you've seen these kinds of military backpacks, I mean, this is kind of just what they look like. And that, we're not going to leave it on, but I'll go ahead and peg it in just to see how well it works. Pegs right into his back. Looks good, is maybe a little tiny bit loose, but it's not falling out. So, and once you put it on through the vest we're going to put on this guy, I think it'll be nice and secure. We've got a belt piece that I don't know how the heck this is going to go on unless this figure literally just pops apart at the waist, which is possible, but probably not something I'm going to find out here in this video. Yeah, it is not going to easily come apart, so we're going to leave that alone for now. I realize this is the kind of information you guys want to have, but from just sitting here making this unboxing review, I'm not quite sure how this piece is supposed to go on. So we're going to leave that to the side. We have an armored tactical vest that looks awesome. And you can see right here where we've got one side where the closure is, and the closure is actually designed under the buckles. And I bet I'm going to have to heat that up to get those into place. This is going to be, I feel, a little bit tricky to make. Oh, no, that peg went in pretty nicely. You guys, I apologize for going off camera like I am. I'm not used to giving things quite the same amount of scrutiny, so I'm kind of looking at it off camera, which unfortunately leads to the piece going on, drifting out of frame from time to time. This one is going to be a problem, I'll tell you right now, because you can see that peg is much larger than that hole, and I'm really not too sure how well that's going to work. So for right now, we're going to set that guy aside. We'll continue looking at the accessories. I've got a holster that'll slide right onto the thigh. These have stayed in place really nicely on the other figures I reviewed. Please go check out Steel Brigade and Sergeant Slaughter. Got a couple of magazine spots here. We'll go ahead and put some magazines in them. Let's go right into place like that. Looks great. Got an awesome looking pistol with a nicely detailed paint job. Got a hole in the barrel so you can add blast effects if you so desire. Got a great looking rifle. Believe it's the same one that came with Steel Brigade. And that clip will slide right in there. But it's got a different paint job, which I dig. Really fantastic looking weapons in this line. Oh, and also you've got the holes in the barrels there. And a helmet. little night vision that pops right into place on the front of the helmet. And then we've got, let's see here. I'm not quite sure which way these go on. And these might be a little tricky, but you've got the earpieces that clip onto the helmet, where I'm sure there will be alternative, accessories that you can put on there as well. But anyway, these little flaps peg into place. But I would imagine maybe comm gear or other parts and pieces will be available. And I gotta say, that's not. Oh, wait a minute. I just felt it sort of slide into place. So they do. Okay, there we go. So those do go securely into place. They're not just sort of pegged in. There is actually a point where you realize they're attached to the helmet. Very interesting. I just knocked off the night vision, but that's on me from doing this probably backwards from how I'm supposed to. That's the excitement of brand new toy lines, is learning how to do this stuff. So I'm going to leave the night gear off. Now, obviously, if I'm going to use this guy as Firefly, I'm not going to put this helmet on him, but we do, for the purposes of this review, need to see how well this helmet fits and works with the figure. And it's got a really nice fit, looks great on, and we'll get the those night vision goggles tabbed in right there. And there you go. Look at that. Nice. Looks great. We have got also finally a tactical knife. Really great, interesting sculpt on that. Beautiful painted detail on the blade. Looks great. All right. Oh, and that knife slides into the sheath on the back of the tactical vest. So that is great. I've got some shells in the front here for the grenade launcher mounted underneath the rifle. Very cool. I mean, they're not removable or anything, but it's a nice little detail. Looks great. So here's what I think I'm going to do to save you guys the pain of watching me awkwardly try to figure out how to gear this guy up, get that vest on him, and do everything else. I'm going to put a little cut in here, and I'll let you know how it went when we get back. Okay, so I'm popping back in for a minute here to say I do not see any way. I've been working on this for about 10 minutes. I do not see any way possible that I am going to get this peg into this hole, which is so disappointing because this bottom one worked so well. It really wasn't a problem. I heated it. I took my shears and sort of gently put them in here and stretched a little bit, which you can see left some stress marks that would be covered if I could get this peg in there. But I just can't get it done. I don't know. I don't see any possible way. So I just wanted to fill you guys in on where we are with that. So at this point, I'm going to show you two things about the vest. It does have the sheath in the back for the knife, which works beautifully. And then it's got the hole for the backpack to be pegged into. And fortunately, the peg on that backpack, you can see, goes in there really nicely. So good in. Oh, whoa! Look at that! What an awesome surprise! So you've got some storage there for, put some hands in there, do whatever you want to do. That's great. I didn't even know that was going to happen. So that's cool. So let's get our backpack out of there and put back together. How great is that? What an awesome little design. Okay. So yeah, there's that you need to know about the vest. Now, obviously this is not okay, but I am just going to take this vest off, which by the way, you do have to pull the head off, which was no problem at all. to get the vest on. It's got a really nice fit, fits perfectly on the figure. But I am going to take that vest off because I don't need that vest for Firefly. Oh, isn't this fun? There we go. Okay, so vest is gone. We're going to pop that head back on. And actually, I guess I'll just keep going because there's nothing else that I think is really going to take a whole lot of time to explain or figure out. You can see I've got both of his thigh pieces on now. Those, you just straighten the foot out. I recommend you slide them up the leg with this piece in the front because there are pockets here that stick out. So the strap can get caught on the pocket, but this piece, you have a little bit of an edge here to get it up over the top of the pocket and all the way the rest of the way up the thigh. Once these are on, they stay in place nicely. They are not loose, but they are also not difficult to put on. So really nice design there. I never did figure out how the heck this thing is supposed to go on. I think if you wanted to, you would need to heat this up and it would become much, much more pliable and then slide it up the legs. And I guess if I was a good toy reviewer, I would do that right now. Doesn't seem possible. I got to think maybe this joint is supposed to come apart or something. But I don't really care about this piece. So I'll just tell you, if you want it on the figure, you're going to have a challenge on your hands. All right, let's keep going with this guy. He's got that great looking pistol. It's going to slide right into that holster. We're going to want to switch those fists out because as much as I like seeing dudes punch other dudes, we want to load this guy up with some cool guns. The hands take a little effort to get out, but they've got some great ridged pegs that hold them in place nicely. And once you have gotten one out, then getting another one in is pretty easy. And they do stay in place. They look great. And then the trigger guard hand, you can see, has the articulation that way, which is how gun holding hands should be articulated. All right. Get his rifle, which is not really a proper Firefly weapon, but for the purposes of this review, this is what we're going with. And just like I did with Steel Brigade, I'm going to get that in his hand first. And these hands are rigid, but not breakable. So how I recommend you do this in order to avoid putting stress on that stock is just take that trigger finger, pull it right out there, and there you go. Trigger finger in place, ready to go, and we'll put his cradling hand on the other side. So you can get a nice look there. And then we get his cool helmet into place. And that backpack. And that's what we get. Not Firefly. I'll have to do a little more work to get that exactly where I want it. But a very cool looking trooper. Awesome urban camo. I would love to see these accessories in some other colors. But again, this line is very exciting to me. I love the troop builder aspect. I love what he's done with the hands. I can't impress you guys enough with how professional these are, with how high the quality is as far as the deco and the sculpt and the execution. The plastic feels good. This is an excellent action figure. Is this a problem? Yes, of course it is. Of course, this, we shouldn't be worrying about pegging the vests that we paid for onto the figures. But, I can't be, it's disappointing, but it ain't going to happen again, I bet. So, this knocks this accessory set down a peg, obviously. And if you've got other figures that you want to remove the vests on, like, say, your Steel Brigade, then that is potentially going to be a huge issue. But I'm not too interested in taking his vest off, and I don't need the vest on this guy. So it's that's not okay. But overall, this line is still, I think, awesome. I'm going to order some more of these figures. I had these three plus a couple of accessory sets that I just wanted to check them out. I wanted to review them because I love new toys. But you guys, I got to say, uh, so far, Action Force is delivering. I'm in. I dig it. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends about Needless Things. Tell your friends about Audible Interlude, a G.I. Joe podcast. And go to Big Bad, go to Dorkside, go to Valaverse.com. Order yourself, find an Action Force figure that you like the look of, order it, and get one of these in your hands. I think you'll dig it. Thanks for watching, you guys.
Smash that like button if you like Needless Things.